Now, if the dough should get a little soft while you're working on it, just stick it in the refrigerator. I can't do this here, obviously. And just wait a few minutes, go do something else, and then come back and the dough will be ready. So that always works. The cold helps dough to keep the proper consistency. Okay. This is ready. Put it aside. Usually at home, I would put this in the refrigerator. Well, maybe. And now I'm going to roll out the strips. Now you could, Italian pies and tarts, crostate. Crostata means from a crust, okay? It's something that is crusty. Sometimes a crostata is also called a cake. For instance, my mother's apple cake with apple tart with cream, she calls it torta di mele. Torta means cake in Italian, but they don't differentiate so much. Okay, so again, we're going to try to do it in this shape so that it makes it easier. But this dough is so beautiful and it works so well that you don't have a problem. And of course, because it has rested, it stretches out and it stays. If I was using that dough that I just made, I would have to really push and push and push because the elasticity of it, or the gluten, it will make it come back all the time. But again, the refrigerator helped. Now, when you put the strips on a crostata, you do it in a very simple way. No lattice work, not all that, just very, very plain. You just put them on top, you arrange them, but what you do is that you cut them with a cute little cutter. There's got a little design like this, so it makes them look pretty. Now, always do this, just to make sure it's not stuck to anything. And for good measure, just throw some more flour underneath, all of that. Okay, let me see, the stripe should be, should be good. Because it doesn't take that many. You're going to have leftover dough, and I'll tell you what to do with leftover dough. Especially if you have little children. Okay, so we're going to use this pastry cutter and make stripes. Now, make them a little thick, a little wide, I mean, so they look better like that. It looks more rustic. Don't make it very thick. This works very nicely. Now, when you make the pastiera, is anybody familiar with a pastiera? The pastiera is an Easter cake that is made from Naples. It's very large, usually, and it's made with wheat berries that have been softened and cooked, ricotta, eggs, and other delicious things, orange flower, water, and cinnamon. Now, when you do the pastiera, which is really a tart, but in a pan that is a little higher, and then you put the strips of dough on top, you don't use this. You use a plain one. Why? It's just a tradition. So I like to follow traditions because it makes me feel like I'm part of something, especially for my family or my country. So here we go. They're done. Okay, now, this way this is so easy. Make a nice jar of jam. Now get the best jam that you can find. I got it. I go to Trader Joe's a lot because I love Trader Joe's. They have really good products and they are very reasonable. So just take, where's my spoon? Okay. You can, the recipe says like 10 to 12 ounces. I don't remember. This is good. Just throw the whole jar in. It's better to have more than less because if you have a very thin layer, you just get a little taste. I like to have a little, chunkier layer of good jam. Now this is really thick jam, so there's no liquidy part in it. So you want to get all out of here, and you spread it. Again, this is apricot jam, very traditional in Italian baking. The other very traditional one is the amaretto or the cherry. You want to use raspberry, blueberry? Sure, feel free. I only make it with these because that's what I like. And to me, it's not a crostata if it doesn't have these flavors. So you just spread it out as evenly as you can without going crazy. Again, this is easy home baking. that you can do with your children, you can do even when you don't have the time to do it. The best thing to do really is to have the dough already made. So what I usually do, I make a few doughs at a time and I freeze them. It freezes very, very nice. And then when you want to bake, you just take it out, like up to room temperature, a cool room temperature, and you got it. You got a jar of jam, and you're good. So we just continue to do this until it's all over. Now make sure this is at not refrigerated, because otherwise it's even harder to do it because it's it's harder to spread. Okay, getting there. The only thing I didn't bring because it's just too complicated. I didn't bring the eggs to make to brush on the top of the strips, but I will tell you what to do. And also, if you go to my website, mararider.com, you will find another lesson where I make this. The website is actually written on the flyers that you got, so it's mararider.com. And you will find a lot of recipes, and you will find links to my novels that I wrote that take place in Westchester, by the way, because that's what I know. Write about what you know, that's what I do. And all my characters, they cook and bake. Because that's what I like to do. I combine my interests. Okay. Okay, this is good. Now I'm going to take these strips and start putting them on. Take the longest one first, and you put them lengthwise so that you at least you know you got the best ones. Like, let's put 3 of them. We can even do 4. It doesn't matter. It's all what you want to do. This, I'm going to do 4. More pastry is nice. Because the pastry becomes golden brown and beautiful. Okay, this is too thick. That. And then you go the other way. Very simple, no latticing. I have no patience with these things. I like to bake, but I don't have that much time. So let's do it this way. That, and one more. Now just break it and make it all fit. You can add a little bit to make the edge, a thicker edge around it. Okay. So we're gonna, bunch this up here, press it in. The dough presses in very nicely because it's like cookie dough. Soft and pleasant to the touch, and it smells really good. So you do this, here, the edge, that. Okay, make sure always you fill in the corners that are solid, because the corners are the most vulnerable, the ones that are most likely to break. Okay, nice little edge around it. And actually, I will even show you, well, I can't show you, but I will tell you how to take it out of the pan without having a disaster. Because, this is pretty, it's very decorated here, so even though it's been well greased, you still have to be careful. But it all comes with experience. Okay, now, what I would normally do now, I would take an egg, beat it a little bit in a cup, with a fork, or an egg yolk. It doesn't matter. And you take a little pastry brush, and you dip it in, and you go over the strips. Never the edge, only the strips. Why do you think you're not on the edges? You know what? It's because the edges are so close to the pan that they brown very quickly. So you don't need it. The purpose of brushing, this is called an egg wash. The purpose of that is to have the strips turn brown. So a golden brown, dorate. So they look more appetizing and they're crisper and nice. Okay, now you're gonna have all this dough left. The tart is ready. Now if we had an oven, it will go in, 375 degrees, about 30 minutes. you look at it, if it looks, you know, you will see this bubbling through it, and shine is very pretty. And these will be browning. Then you take it out, you put it on a rack, and you let it cool for about 20 minutes. Then, carefully, you take a knife and you put it in between the crust and the pan, very carefully, because you don't want to break. It's going to be fragile. And you just loosen it up a little bit. Then, when it's a little cooler, but not completely cool, you take a container or a coffee can, and you put this on top of it. And then you will see the sides are going to come down if you have separated already. And it will leave all the edges nice and neat. And then you only have the bottom to deal with. So you've taken off the sides. Now you take it down. Now, because I do a lot of baking, I have some special equipment. I have cake boxes, I have boards, and what I do is I stick the board between the tort and the bottom, and very slowly and very carefully, I lift it so that it's completely on this. Because you really want to serve it completely out of the pan. This is not meant to be in the pan. And this is the fastest, the best way of doing that. So try that if you have it. I get those at a wholesale supplier, baking suppliers in Yonkers. Okay, so this is ready. Now you have all the snow left. So what you do, you put the scraps together. It's delicious. And you roll it out in the refrigerator. Okay, normally you would refrigerate it again because now it's getting almost soft. And with a cookie cutters, you cut out little shapes. You put them on a cookie sheet and cover it with foil or parchment. We'll sprinkle with sugar on top. You make cookies. So you have extra cookies. And for Thanksgiving, for instance, when I make my pies with a different kind of dough, but still the same, I have leftovers. So I make, I shape them like leaves, maple leaves, whatever leaves. And then I bake them. I bake the cutouts like that with a little sugar on. And then I put them on top of the pies after they're baked. So it looks very pretty. And the children always go after those because they're cookies. Okay, so we are done. We're actually done. Now we have, going to taste it. This one is not baked, but I have another one ready to go. So let's take it out. Napkins are not for everybody. Here it is. Here it is. And this one, I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to take it home and bake it. Okay, I'm going to cut it and we can serve it. Oh, you can see that I put confectioner's sugar on top. This happens to be zucchero vanigliato, which I picked up in Italy. I just got back from Italy. I always bring a lot of baking supplies. I actually went overweight this time, and they called me, and I was 4 kilos overweight. I had to pay a little fee, but it was worth it, well worth it. And you just serve it like this. And the zucchero vanigliato means it has vanilla in it. It's powdered sugar with vanilla in it, and it's different and delicious. But regular powdered sugar is also fine. So we're going to cut this and we're going to serve it. I'm Sandro De Matteo, and thank you for coming to my baking presentation. Please go to my website, mararider.com, for the recipe for this, many other recipes. Ciao!